I think it would be fair to say that I approached this review of the Accuphase E280 stereo integrated amplifier with a certain amount of caution, intimidation maybe even, maybe. I don't know, because I've never reviewed an Accuphase component before. I remember them from my sales days in the 90s. That was a long time ago. But interesting, they don't look any different now than they did then. It's sort of a traditional Japanese high-end look. And I should explain. So Accuphase, if you don't know about Accuphase, was founded in 1972 in Japan, in Tokyo. They still design and build all of their products, as far as I know, in Japan. Some might even say that Accuphase is kind of like, well, the Japanese equivalent to Macintosh, what we have here in Binghamton, New York. They're both very traditional companies that make things a certain way, their way. They don't care what the rest, they're not jumping on trends, let's put it that way, right? So anyway, the E280, well, it's a 90 watt per channel into 8 ohm design. It's Class AB. 120 watts per channel into 4 ohms. It's just so, traditional. It has bass and treble controls. Yes, they are defeatable. Round back, there's speaker A and speaker B outputs. So you can select A or B or A plus B. Now, I haven't seen that on an integrated amplifier in ages. I can't remember the last time. Otherwise, it is, well, standard, traditional. It has 5 line level inputs. No phono input, no DAC, no digital anything, unless you order the optional plug-in boards, which you can add later. My preferred approach to integrated amplifiers is they should just be the basic amplifier itself, and the phono and the DAC and other things should be external to it. But in this example, you can have it built in or you can add it separately. I like being able to choose, obviously. The price, by the way, is in the USA $6,000. And then this particular piece that I have here comes from Canada, from the Canadian distributor. The price in Canada for the E280 is 7,000 Canadian dollars. Before I get any further, yes, there will be an Audiophiliac viewer system of the day at the conclusion of today's show. Oh, and the other thing that's very important to mention up front is if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, please subscribe. Please like these episodes that you like, and please subscribe. To do so, super easy. Hit that button, right down there. And when you do, hit the bell so you'll be notified every time there's an amazing new episode. Back to the E280. Being this is such a traditional piece, I have to talk about knob feel. And yeah, it's good. It's really good. But it isn't as silky smooth, creamy when you turn it, that luxurious feel. I've felt better, let's put it that way. Speaking of feel, the remote is made of metal. It's important to a lot of us, right? And it's not too cluttered with a million buttons. It's certainly not backlit. It's also just a very, traditional remote. Oh, by the way, I feel like I should mention this, that, I've reviewed a lot of expensive gear lately, like this one. But I do have in the pipeline some much more affordable, under $1,000 products coming soon, within the next few weeks, I hope. The other thing I want to put into context here is the kind of buyer for Accuphase. I think of it as an aspirational brand, like you aspire to get that someday when you're comfortable enough to be able to afford it. Like Macintosh, like a lot of high-end companies, but certainly the thing that's so impressive about Accuphase is they've stayed so true to their course since, well, their beginnings nearly 50 years ago in 1972. That's worth mentioning, which is what I did. The first recording I'm going to highlight for this review is Ry Cooder's Buena Vista Social Club. Came out in 1996. Wow, it's amazing. And you know what? It's one of those recordings that actually sounds better and better and better. The years that I've listened to it, I've never gotten bored with it, and the sound quality, it just seems like it gets better and better as the gear that I'm playing gets better and better. The music within that recording, recorded in Havana, by the way, in a beautiful old studio, it's one of those you are there. The feel that you get is one of those you are present at the session. It's not one of those that they tweaked it and overdubbed things and changed things later on. No, it's kind of like what they played is what you get, which is what I think a lot of audiophiles want from their recordings. And in this case, you get it. And then describing the sound of this integrated amplifier is kind of, well, it's easy because it's just so straight ahead. Tonal, that's the thing. The tone balance, especially in the middle, was right on the money. It wasn't warm. No, it wasn't analytical or cool or overly detailed or etched or anything. No. It was just like that portal back to the sound of the session sort of sound. That's what I was feeling. Yeah. As for comparisons, I'll get that out of the way right up front. Well, the Air EX8 2.0 integrated amp, about the same price, was definitely on the more relaxed, warmer, mellower side, less detailed sounding, certainly less, not clear, because the Air is very transparent, but it's also laid back. It's not jumping out, just not jumping out of the speakers. And by the way, in terms of the system that I was using with the E-280, that is covered in the description below this video. It takes too much time to describe piece by piece by piece. Oh, and even compared to the Gato Amp 150, that's the Class AB amp from Gato. And by the way, this one, the E-280, is also a Class AB design. I think I forgot to say that earlier. But anyway, even the Gato couldn't approach the E-280's purity of tone. That mid-range tone was so right with Buena Vista Social Club. So some of you people, some of you guys have pointed out that, Steve, though you say you like vinyl, you don't play a lot of records over the course of your reviews. It's complicated the way the systems are configured, whether or not I do or I don't. But this time I did, and I used my SME turntable and a Vanden Hall Grail phono preamp, and I played this Stevie Wonder record from, what is it, like early 70s. So it's kind of interesting how it fits in this kind of sound. But his vocal isn't like buried in reverb or effects or compression. It's just so completely human. It is so all there. And the sound is of this record. This is not quite an original pressing, but it's a pretty old pressing. It's a soft sounding recording. It's not a lively, hyper crazy recording, you know. I think Stevie's playing a lot of the instruments himself. Anyway, his voice is it's the star. He's such an incredible singer. And to hear it without a lot of reverb or effects or crap on it, just the voice, it's just like, wow, he is right there. You get that feeling. And the band and the funk and the grooves and the Pratt were very, very, very much up to snuff. So the imaging is big and spacious, but I can't say that, and reasonably well focused, but I can't say I was getting a lot of depth or spatial stuff happening through the E-280. Not bad, just, let's say nothing special, I will say that. But then I played the Pixies' Doolittle. You know, I was such a fan of the Pixies the first time around. Their later records don't really connect with me, but the first time around, wow. I saw them at the Academy of Music in New York City, and whew, wow, incredible group. The energy level and the hooks and the melodic drive of those songs, and that was it. You know, the rhythm and pace. You want to talk rhythm and pace? Yeah, the E-280 will get your butt moving in the seat or out of the seat and dancing around the room. It does that stuff very, very well. It has it can boogie. Let's just put it that way. back in the world of digital, I was streaming the new Los Lobos record, Native Son. And it's kind of, they're doing old covers, basically. And they did The World is a Ghetto and Bluebird, and just, they're doing great, man. That band can still play. They may be old. They're probably as old as I am, or some of them are. But anyway, they can really get it going. It's a great record. You know, I love their early stuff. I kind of like some of the middle things, but this one, this new record deserves your attention. If you were ever into Los Lobos and you've lost track, check out Native Son. I have a new add-on to my reviews. This section will be called henceforth, So Steve, what did you really think? Because that's what people say to me when they meet me at shows or sometimes in a store or something. So Steve, what did you really think of blah, 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 right? So I'm just going to throw that into the review itself, starting with this one, the E-280 from Accuphase. What did I really think? Well, I liked it. I like the E-280 a lot. I love the look, I love the feel, I love using it, and I love the sound, and that mid-range purity and tone was so right. But the one thing I wanted, and this is where what you really think comes into play, for me, for my taste, I wanted a little more soul. I like the 280. I admire its neutrality and purity and all that. It's really, really excellent. But for me, for my taste, and I'm emphasizing and underlining my taste, what I really think is I prefer something sweeter and softer sounding. Actually, like the Air EX8 2.0. That's more in Steve's wheelhouse, put it that way, right? I want things to be veering in the warmer than neutral direction. So that is what I really think of this piece is fantastically pure and transparent with great mid-range tone. And I keep saying mid-range tone. The bottom end was solid, the top end was clean and clear and pure, absolutely. But the star for the E-280 is the mids. And now, speaking of pure and clean and transparent, now it is time for the Audiophiliac viewer system of the day. This one comes from Ridzwan. He's in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. He actually has two systems. So the first system is running Accuphase E600 30 watt per channel Class A amp. The digital player is a Bladelius Embla. Turntable is Technics SL1200mk6. There's also a DIY turntable, a Lenco with a PTP5. The phono preamp is a Pure Sound P10. The speakers are Zoo Soul Supremes, and they are ably assisted by a Rel Strata 3 subwoofer. Second system's running also Zoo's Druid Mark IVs. The amp is a Naim Nait 2. Turntable is a Technics SL10, and there's a CD player in there, and it's a Triode TRV CD4se. You know what? My name is Steve Guttenberg. If you like what I'm doing here, yes, I'll say it one more time. Please consider subscribing to this channel. And if you have already subscribed, thank you so much for doing so. And then there's the question of Patreon, my Patreon. It's where the hip people go. And, well, if you want to know what it's all about, check it out. You can find it at patreon.com/Audiophiliac, and there is a link to that in the description, most certainly. And with that out of the way, I can now say my work here is at last complete. Thank you again for watching, and I really, really do hope to see you all back here again very, very soon. Bye-bye.